This was taken from my brother's notes that he left the night before he disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. All I know is what I have read from this note, and that he had left a piece of his flesh behind, with 666 carved into it. I'm a resident in a small estate in the middle of England. I live in an average 2-story house with my mother and brother, my father leaving us at an early age due to psychological problems. There's not much to do around here, and in this area is predominantly run by the more unruly members of this community, starting unnecessary trouble here and there, maybe. I have been here all my life and know pretty much every inch of this neighborhood except for one particular street. Ledby Street. One of the more rural and more rundown places there. Almost every house is boarded up. Sinister "Don't Enter" signs hanging from most doors, windows boarded up, their only inhabitants of that being a curious cat or a scurrying rat running in from the cold. Considering the desolate state in which this street is in, many rumors have sparked local interest in this community. Houses being haunted, questionable beings roamed around in one of the abandoned houses, the usual generic stuff you get from the areas with rundown houses and abandoned crap. But there is one that a lot of people seem to overlook or just shun it, even when you mention it. And that's extremely unsettling presence you feel when walking down a particular alleyway that connects the streets to the rest of the neighborhood. Along this hidden away crevice lies a desolate-looking concrete walkway, cracks littering the ground as if they form at your feet as you walk. The walls shrouding the alley in complete darkness stand pretty high, also damaged and worn by time, and as I mentioned before, you get this strange feeling. It was one of dread, like something was watching your every move beneath the shadows. Every second you spend in this dark hole, you feel like you are in serious danger. It eventually got so bad for anyone walking down this particular spot that people preferred to take the long route, adding a considerable amount of time to any journey just to get out of walking down there. 2 large gates seal off this passage. The fairly few inhabitants of the slightly maintained houses that have back gates alongside the alley, holding the only keys to them. It's rare they are ever unlocked. Telling my friends about this, they had also heard of the rumor as well as a little extra that I have never known about. People have actually turned insane from that presence, overwhelming them to the point of insanity. I don't know if it's true, but if it were, I wouldn't be surprised. They also had felt it walking down there. My friend even being one of the lucky few holders of the keys, which opens the gates to this alleyway. The term lucky used loosely there. Talking about it more, we also realized something about the street name. Ledby is an anagram for devil. At first, I just thought of this as a coincidence, but as it sat in my mind, I couldn't help but think if it really is the beast's presence you feel down there, it certainly has enough terrifying power to be. Walking down that enclose really did feel like. They also went on to tell me that if you go there on the 6th minute of the 6th hour of the 6th day of any month, you see the fires of hell open before your eyes. I thought of this as completely implausible, and hey, maybe it was all just a history of folktales that held its presence, right? We were 3 stupid teenagers. We had to try it out. We all got together outside the entrance gate to the dark, menacing hallway an hour before the supposed time, laughing around, making each other jump out of our skins, screaming in each other's ears. As the night progressed, I checked my watch. February 6th, 6:02 p.m. My friend with the key opens the gate up, wind rushing all 3 of us. I swear I had heard her whisper the wind and said, "Welcome." 6:05 p.m. We walk into the middle of the ruined concrete crevice, awaiting our answer to the folklore. 6:06 p.m. Nothing happened for a few seconds. That was until the alley turned so dark I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I could hear the blood-curdling scream of my friend from a few feet away. The alley started to turn a tinted dark blood-red color, allowing a little light to permeate the alley. I saw my friends far off in the distance. The alley seemed much larger. I go to step towards them until I notice the cracks below me. They were starting to open wider and wider, revealing the most terrifying sights I had ever witnessed. Screams of anguish could be heard for miles, demons ripping apart the defenseless victims, feasting on their remains, a blood-red river flowing through the horrific scene. I don't wait a second longer. I run for the gate. Thankfully it was still open, stepping over the holes forming over the ground, dodging the hands of the restless souls reaching out, trying to grasp me and pull me to my doom, shouting things like, "You're next and he's always watching." I ignore it and focus on getting the hell out of there. I jumped for the gate, landing on the other side, and I was out. I quickly dusted off myself and signaled my friends, "Come on, over here." One starts to rush past the bloodshed hands reaching out, just about making it onto the side. But my other friend, he just stood there laughing. He glanced back at us. I wish he never did, for that image will never leave my memory. He had half of his head missing. His eye was not in its socket. Instead, it dangled out with black blood dripping out of the empty hole. His limbs torn apart, broken in many places, dangling lifelessly from his body. He shouted up to the sky in such a demonic voice it deafened me for a few seconds after. "Take me, my lord." As soon as he said that, a giant red claw slashed out through the ground, grabbing him and crushed him like a twig, dragging him into the floor as the alley started to reform back into its previous state. I looked to my friend. He's still laying there. I thought nothing of it until I saw his eyes. They were a blood red. With a sickening snap, he tilted his neck and said, "We can never be free." What? What is that? Before I can finish, he runs off at an insane speed, and I never heard from him again. As I write my few words to you in the dark, bright light has always hurt me since this incident. And if you are to take anything from this, then let it be this. If you ever find yourself in the town of Brown Hills, never, and I mean never, walk down his alley. If you do, he will always be watching over you, for you have been cursed by Satan's hallway.